Today we're going to create a stretch ratio guide. Let's get started. We are going to start with a line that's 8 inches long. And then we're going to create basically a box that's 1 inch high, 8 inches long. Okay, so here I have 8 inches from edge to edge, 1 inch top to bottom. We're going to create a box that is 1 inch less than that, right above. So I've put my ruler where I can be already at 1 inch and at 7. Now I'm going to make one that is, I need my line over here, help me out. Okay, I'm going to make a new box that is 1 inch by 6 inches. And a new box that's 1 inch by 5 inches. This one's 7 inches wide, this one's 6 inches wide, and this one's 5 inches wide. When we cut a piece of fabric, we're going to make sure that we cut it at 4 inches. And when we do that, that'll give us a certain stretch ratio of how stretchy that fabric is. This will make more sense whenever we make our patterns and whenever we're talking about the different stretch ratios and looking at our fabric. But right now we need to get our guide set up so that you understand where we're coming from. So I'm going to put a line at 4 inches that tells us this is how big our fabric swatch should be, or how much we're pinching when we measure. Okay, this is up to 25% stretch. This would be up to 50% stretch, up to 75% stretch, and up to 100. Okay, so next we'll get into and we'll get a piece of fabric and we'll stretch it and see if you can figure out what stretch ratio it is. Here's a couple of swatches that we're going to test today. This one, we're going to lay it right on top of our chart, pinch right at our 4 inch mark line, and pull it. We can definitely pull it past the minimal stretch, and we can pull it up to the moderate stretch, and I can really force it to that very stretch, but I don't recommend that. Let's pull it to the moderate stretch because we don't want to warp what our knit is. This fabric actually has some lycra in it, and so that gives it some of its stretch capabilities. But as far as the knit itself, we don't want to warp that out. So we're going to say this is a moderate stretch. Here's another knit fabric that we can test. This one's a little bit heavier, different construction, does not have the lycra in it. If we lay it down and pinch at the 4 inch mark, can't get to the moderate. I can get up to the 25%. We're safe to say this one's a minimal stretch fabric. Let's test this one out and see what you think this one is. Oh, we can go all the way up to the moderate pretty easily. And I can stretch this one all the way up to the very stretchy, but once again, not something I really want to do because at this point I'm warping the knit. And you can really see where we're pulling this, how it's separating that right there. So let's get this back down here. I would probably use the moderate stretch for this one, although you could go up to the very stretch. Our last example here will be this heavier fabric that's a stripe. So although the stripes are going across, which they most likely always will on a knit, the grain line's going up and down. So we're going to fold on our cross grain. And we'll pinch right here and pull. We're definitely past our minimal, up to our moderate, And although we can pull it up to our very stretchy, we can even pull it all the way up to our super stretchy.